There's different trails, so it's as long as you want it to. So we're going to go down towards that crane over there. And then we'll see you after that. All of this used to be a polluted area called the tar ponds. It was one of the most polluted areas in Canada until it was cleaned up. Yeah. What they did with the old steel plant, because they didn't know any better, is they just dumped all of the byproduct, the garbage product for making steel. They just dumped it all in the water into this creek here, because they didn't know any better. They didn't realize that they thought diluting it by putting it in the water was going to deal with it. They didn't realize that it was going to pollute the water as much as it did.
But the steel plant's shut down now, so they can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And some of those plants have fun that needs it.
Archaeological evidence suggests the Mi'kmaq people arrived in Cape Breton within several thousand years of the last ice age. Settling mainly along the Bredor Lakes, some groups established fishing and hunting camps along coastal areas such as Sydney River, which the Mi'kmaq named Sigu. Yeah. Thinking about it. Doesn't always have to be a big hike. Sometimes it can be a walk along a trail. Because there are some people, like your great-grandmother, who don't get out for walks easily. And so if they want to see a place they haven't seen, or remember a place they've been to, then they can watch that video, right? We've made a lot of videos. All the videos together are 112, but I think we've made for hiking and walking videos we've done 10, 15. About 100 and something, 112 or so, last I checked. I'll check later. This week's the first time in a long time I'm skipping a video. This is New Year's Eve. And I tried to get a video uploaded before we came down here. My computer wasn't cooperating. I might do a little short video. Yeah. Ducks. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Sydney Harbour was known as Spanish Bay. Its harbour sheltered increasing numbers of European fishing fleets, while coal from exposed cliffside seams was mined for Fortress Louisbourg. 2 hens. Hey, ducks. They're on video. I can take a picture from the video. The hens are the mothers. Chicks are the babies. Or ducklings. Ducklings for ducks.
Why are you doing take a picture?
Yeah.
Why are you doing take a picture, Daddy?
I don't know. I don't even know if a female duck is a hen. I know a male is a mallard. I can't remember. I think it's a hen, but I'm not sure.
Female? But mallard is a male.
Mallard is a male duck. And duckling is a baby.
I forgot the ducks.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's in the long-term plans, but it would be nice if they connected the wheelchair trail to this, because it's close and they're both the steel history. Well, area history, but it's all both on steel plant land, pretty much. In 1784, mapper and surveyor Joseph Frederick Wallet de Barre established the colony of Cape Breton Island with the arrival of 129 English settlers on the 600-ton ship Blenheim at Sydney. De Barre would serve as lieutenant governor of the new colony.
So there's a silent
In Sydney? Oh, the Y acts like an E at the end of colony. Otherwise it'd be colony. That's a weird word. Yeah. Long ago, Niskiminu created Glooscap from the rich red earth of Cape Breton. He placed Glooscap on the great cliffs on the eastern side of the cape, with his head facing the rising sun and his feet facing the setting sun, his arms flat stretched to the north and south. Niskiminu willed him to wait for 70 times 7 days until he returned. He waited through summer and winter, and finally in spring, after the seabirds laid their eggs and the red cliffs were blue with harebells, Niskiminu returned to Cape North. Niskiminu made an old woman, Nugamich, from the dew clinging to the rocks to care for Glooscap's wigwam. Still, he instructed Glooscap to wait on the bold bluffs of Cape North. He made a little man, Tau Nasem, from the thick white sea foam at the foot of the cliffs to wait on Glooscap. Still he waited. On the next noonday, the mother of the Mi'kmaq came out of the beautiful earth of Cape Breton. It was then that Glooscap went over the mountains to the ferry hole in the Bay of St. Anne's, where he pitched his wigwam and lived for many long winters.
The statue over there. No, like the writing over there.
Yeah?
That writing was actually like a writing that I saw way back when.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the
Oh, okay. Okay. The new colonial capital of Cape Breton featured a grand plan of esplanades, wide avenues, parks, and common areas with military barracks and parade grounds constructed in an area of the North End. By the time of provincial annexation of Cape Breton in 1819, Sydney had become known as a garrison town. A garrison town, it's a place where the military lives, basically. Military people live and train. Military base of sorts. So soldiers that are trained to defend in wars. Something moving at the cove here. Just past that hill there. Just past that hill. QR codes. You can do an audio walk. History of Sydney Steel. Aftermath environmental impacts on tar boats. During the 1800s, Muggah Creek, also known as Wintering Cove, was widened deep enough to provide harboring for large ships and schooners. Pleasure boating on its clear waters featured a grand view of Sydney's North End and Park. That's the North End right across there. Just across that bridge. So we are on the filled-in areas of Wintering Cove right now. So they put soil into the cove to displace the water so that they could build some houses and some industrial on the filled-in land. The Mi'kmaq elders say that there's a door to Glooscap's domain where you throw dry punk and fish for his fire and food. The door is a hole through a cliff at Cape Dolphin near Big Redor. This is Glooscap's door. That was Cape Dolphin. There's a flat stone outside that is said to be Glooskap's table. You may leave a gift on the stone waiting to feel goodness, but you must not enter. Mi'kmaq who are on island will leave offerings of tobacco and eels on the table. It is believed that these gifts will bring them luck. The legend lives on through the stories. We're going to keep going straight. We could go across the bridge, there are some, but there is another bridge at the end, so maybe we'll loop around and come back that way. Because I can see a plaque over there. Let's see what it says. It's the thing that has all the writing on it. This is an old artist rendition of Muggah Creek, an outline of roughly where the tar on the tar ponds went to. Obviously after that picture, because that's more Wintering Cove, and then that's what happened with the tar ponds. Muggah Creek presently flows through Open Hearth Park, north end Sydney, and the site of the former Sydney Steel Plant is approximately 2.5 kilometers long and previously in places several hundred meters wide before encroachment by the plant. It was actually a wide cove deep enough to provide mooring and shelter for ships. Mi'kmaq referred to the area as the Big River, and by the 1500s foreign fishing vessels were visiting what became known as Spanish Bay, Sydney Harbour, and Wintering Cove, Muggah Creek. By the 1850s, both civilian and military ships could be found anchored in the creek and became a popular boating area. In 2014, the Sydney Tar Ponds Agency completed a cleanup and remediation of more than 1 million tons of contaminated soil and sediment left behind by 100 years of steel production. The stabilization and solidification process saw contaminants bound with cement, covered with an engineered cap and landscaped. Muggah Creek and Ovens Brook were remediated, a new Ferry Street bridge built, and a groundwater treatment plant installed. Today, Open Hearth Park sits on a 39-hectare green space containing sports fields, trails, playgrounds, art installations reflecting Sydney's steel-making heritage. That is the old steel plant superimposed on So this is more about the steel plant. Sydney steelmaking. Steelmaking in Sydney began because of its proximity to the basic resources needed: iron ore, limestone, and coal. Coal was brought in by rail from local collieries and was baked in ovens producing the steelmaking fuel coke. Iron ore from Newfoundland was shipped in, combined with limestone from local quarries, and fired at the blast furnaces to make pig iron. This iron, combined with coke, was superheated at the large open hearth furnaces to make steel and poured into molds, creating billet steel, rails, and manufactured products such as wire, nails, and plate at the finishing mills. Sydney story. What was Sydney like prior to the steel plant? Where was Wintering Cove? Why was Sydney selected for the location of the steel plant? How was steel made? These graphic storyboards tell Sydney's story, and that's the one we just went through. That old crane there is used to load up the ships with the steel to ship them out. Open pit mining took place locally throughout the 1800s, and by the 1860s an underground mine and foundry were established near Lingan Bay. In 1900, steel plants at both Sydney and Sydney mines were under construction to take advantage of Cape Breton coal.
What's in that?
Coal is used in the steel making process, so because the coal was locally available, they put steel plants in Sydney and Sydney mines, which is across the harbour. The Sydney one is much larger. It was good for jobs, bad for the environment at the time. Again, they didn't know, right? Because the steelmaking process is hard on the environment, it involves a lot of chemicals. When Glooskap lived at Ferry Hole on St. Anne's Bay, there lived an evil wizard who was jealous and did not like Glooskap. He failed in his plot to kill Glooskap or to outwit him with his magic. While Glooskap was away, the wizard took two girls from their wigwam and forced them to the rocks along the shore of St. Anne's Bay. He called for Glooskap to come and save them and snared them and appear. When Glooskap did appear, the wizard pushed the girls into Glooskap's canoe, which was lying on the shore. The wizard heaved the canoe into the deep waters, and as he paddled, he jeered at Glooskap, asking, "What will you do now, Glooskap, to save these girls?" He believed Glooskap to be standing helpless on the shore, and when he turned around, Glooskap was beside him. The wizard lunged at him, but Glooskap pushed him aside, placed the girls safely on the shore, and then dropped the wizard into the sea. Glooskap took his broken canoe and pulled the shattered gunwales apart, leaving the two pieces as two islands, the bird islands. Seabirds found the islands and still lay their eggs on the barren rocks. You can hear their hoarse cries as lonely and desolate as the sea that rises and falls against the rocks that were once Glooskap's canoe. You can do tours to the boat where bird is and boat tours. Yeah, this loops back around. It does go that way a little bit to a dead end, but this one loops back around the other side of the creek. Yeah, because Rowan's cold, so we're going to loop back to the car. Always a point when we over the road. In 1899, the town of Sydney donated 450 acres of land for the construction of the Sydney Steelworks by businessman H.M. Whitney. In 1900, 3,000 workers were employed in the steel boom company. thought there was a bridge down this end. Now I'm not so sure, but we're not going to go down the other side. We'll just go to the end of this and then go back. If there's no bridge to leave. Sydney Steel Plant began production on February 2nd, 1901, with the first fire lit in the blast furnace on February 6th. The first cast of pig iron was poured on December 31st. The first heat of steel was poured. So February 6th, the first cast of pig iron. December 31st was the first heat of steel.
When did this steel plant start?
In 1901. 122 years ago. So it started production in February, but the first steel that was produced didn't come out until December, the end of December. Yeah, because they had to produce a lot of products before getting to steel. Glooskap's home was at Ferry Hole on St. Anne's Bay. In front of the caves at this headland are two small islands in a straight line, known as the Bird Islands. These islands are the remains of Glooskap's canoe, where it was left in two pieces after it was broken. At Plaster Cove, two sisters saw Glooskap's canoe broken into two pieces, and they made fun of Glooskap. He told them that they would forever remain where they were at that time. To this day, there are two rocks at Plaster Cove that are the remains of the two sisters. So remember when we were walking the dogs and we told you that the sewage and stuff we flushed down the toilet used to go into the harbor untreated? Used to go directly into the harbor. That building over there, the brown one with the white thing on the side, that is the sewage treatment plant, which treats all that stuff before it gets into the harbor now. By 1905, Whitney Pier had suddenly grown from a largely rural farming area to an industrial community, housing thousands of steel plant workers and their families. Another crane over there doing something. Yeah, there's no bridge. That's okay. We can go down that side another trip. Or another time this trip. We'll see. We'll see some of these steel things and then we'll go back to the car. Why what? Why go back to the car? Well, we're here, aren't we? Sydney quickly became a bustling island capital due to growth and expansion at the steel plant. Businesses flourished, new banks and hotels opened, and the architecture of ornate domes and spires reflected the newfound prosperity. Yeah, I'm just wiping my nose. Got a runny nose. There's a whole other side of this that goes towards Ferry Street. The beaver was a nuisance to Glooscap because of its mischievous ways and the building of dams that often led to floods. Glooscap tried to chase and stop the beaver from so damaging the waters of Muggah. In this painting, Glooscap is shown trying to chase the beaver out of Muggah. He threw a rock toward the place he thought the beaver was. The rock is now Red Island. Glooscap chased the beaver from the entrance of the Strait of Canso, where the landmark of Porcupine Mountain originated, through the Medora Lakes to the canal at St. Peter's. In one of the stories of our great Glooscap, it is said that he finally made the beaver the size it is now because of its troublesome ways. Before that, the beaver was as large as our great Glooscap. It's a big beaver. People from all over the world came to Whitney Pier to work at the steel plant, such as African Americans, Italians, Caribbeans, Newfoundlanders, Hungarians, the Polish, Ukrainians, Lebanese. We all got along. Those are where all the people that worked at the plant came from. Because of that, Whitney Pier is one of the most multicultural communities in Canada and beyond. When I was growing up, it was one of the most multicultural communities in the Maritimes. That's the old steel plant. Slate pile, still take from. The old crane with a dock. That's Sidport across the water. The Coast Guard College is in those trees somewhere, Petersfield Park. Over there, westbound, probably getting washed out by the sun. Sydney River. And behind those tanks are in North End, but behind those tanks are the community of North End, Sydney. Downtown. Oh, there's duck. There's lion. It's out fishing, I think. Maybe small fish. They wouldn't even knock it. bridge that comes into the harbor. Yeah. Well, it's a good size for us to eat. By 1910, modern shipping piers were in service at Sydney Harbour, importing iron ore and limestone for steelmaking and exporting iron and steel products, as well as locally mined coal to markets all over the world. One, two, three more boards, and we can turn this off and go back to bed. Glooscap's dinner at Tablehead. After Glooscap left his broken canoe, he traveled further north, and at Wreck Cove, Glooscap left his moose skin canoe mat on the shore. There is still a 15-acre area of bare ground where the mat lay. Glooscap then traveled to Tablehead on the south side of the Great Bredor, and there he had his dinner. The site can still be seen as a clear flat area on the cliffs on the northern tip of Cape Breton going towards Blackbrook. When the time came for Glooscap to leave the Mi'kmaq, it is said that he left on a great whale. I left a message to Mi'kmaq in the caves of stone, my home. The message says, I go away, but will return someday, and the sun will again shine across the trails my people walk. Glooscap Ocombe. The Dominion Iron and Steel Corporation, DISCO, prospered during the World War I years of 1914 to 1918, becoming a vital producer of steel and coke ovens byproducts for the war effort. This boom in steel would be over by the 1920s.